In the last video, we went through some of the basic concepts of regression. In this video, I'm going to show you how to actually perform a regression analysis, and I'm going to show you several different ways to do that. And the way you choose to do it will depend on the needs of the individual problem, and to some degree it might depend on your preference as well. This first one, I'm going to show you just how to do it based on a simple scatter plot. So I'm going to select the values that I want to input, and I'm using the same example that I used in the previous video. This is square footage of a home versus the selling price of the home, or the value of the home. And I'm going to go over to my Insert tab, and I am going to insert a scatter plot. And there we go. And it is really just that simple. You can see that your y-axis, which is the value of the home, is over here, and the square footage is along the bottom, along the x-axis. Now, you will probably remember from the last video that there was a little bit more data in this chart. So let me show you how to get that. If you go over to make sure you're on the design ribbon and then go over to add chart element, you can add a trend line. And I'm going to go ahead and add a linear trend line here. What we discussed in the last video was all linear regression. There is other types of regression. All right, now I already actually have my format chart area up, but I'm going to close it and show you how to get there. So if you go click on this line, right click on it, you can hit Format Trend Line. Okay, so right click on the line and then select the Format Trend Line dialog box. All right, so you can see that I've selected linear here for my trend line, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to tell it to display the equation on the chart and display the r squared on the chart. This is kind of squished, so I'm going to raise it up so you can see it a little bit better, and you will notice that this is the exact same equation that was on the PowerPoint. So again, your value of the home is 99.64 times the amount of square feet plus 48,053. And the r squared indicates that this model predicts 92%, roughly 92% of the variance in the selling price of the house, or the value of the house. All right, so that's pretty simple, right? That's all you've got to do. And then if you are asked to plug in a specific number to get the prediction for the value of the house with that specific square footage, you just plug it into that X. So I'm going to assume, as MBA students, you know how to plug a value into an equation. All right. So let's go on to our next step. I'm going to show you how to do this using the data analysis tool. We're going to get a lot of the same information. If you remember the last slide on the last PowerPoint, that's what I'm going to show you how to get. Okay, so I went to my data ribbon, and then I clicked on data analysis, and it brought up this handy dandy thing. Actually, let me stop here. You might not have data analysis on your Windows. If you don't, you need to go to File. Let me show you this first. Options and Add-ins, and Manage Excel Add-ins, and Go, and you will see an add-in for the analysis toolbar. You would need to check it and press OK. I'm going to press Cancel because I already have it up. All right, let's try this again. Now I'm going to press the data analysis, and I'm going to go over here to regression, hit OK. All right, my Y input range. Now remember, your Y is your dependent variable, so you are using square footage to predict value. I'm going to go over here and grab this column with the values, including the label. Okay, my X input range, I just have square footage. You might have more than that once we get to multiple regression. All right, I am going to go ahead and check labels and confidence interval, 95%. There's all kinds of these extra things you can check. You're welcome to look at them if you want to. And I am going to just tell it to put the output in this workbook. You don't have to do that. You can tell it to do a new spreadsheet. You can tell it to do a new workbook. Do what makes you happy there. All right. but it's easier to compare it if we have it on the same workbook this time. All right, now see, your R square here is 92.334, same as up here. And if you scroll down here to your intercepts and square footages, or the coefficients for your intercept and square footage, you can see that they are the same as your chart above. So if you're doing a simple linear regression with only one variable, you are welcome to just use this model if it's easier for you. At the point you get to multiple regression, you are going to have to use this method because this little handy dandy chart won't handle multiple regression. All right, so now this works for linear regression. In some of your assignments for this week, you're going to be asked to do things that aren't linear regression. There are two other curves that you need to be able to look at. So I'm going to show you how to fit those. We're going to go back over to this trend line, and it wanted you to look at, also be able to look at an exponential curve. So I'm going to change this curve to an exponential curve. Notice how that changes my equation up here. Okay, so it's actually not as good of a fit as the linear curve, so we wouldn't actually want to do this for real. I am just showing you an example of how you could do it. So this only explains 91% of the variance. It's still fairly close, but not as close as that 92.3 that we had. All right. You also have the equation for exponential. This is given to you in your book, but it is y equals a times e, and then you have a power of, and that e is to the power of bx, and you can see that right up here. All right, the only one out of this that you don't have defined yet is your e, and e is a given, and that given is in your book, but I'll just tell you it is roughly 2.7182, so it's the same number you would plug into that e every single time that you did that equation. All right, so that's how you would look at a exponential. There's one other thing I want to show you on that, and sometimes this number sometimes gets really big and comes up weird. So if you need to, you can go click on the number and change its formatting. Sometimes if you change it to number formatting, it is easier for you to read. So now, in this case, we've lost too many decimal spots, so some of what you need doesn't show up, so you might want to change it, that as well. In that particular one, it actually worked reasonably well. But anyway, all right, so that is how you would change the equation if it comes up weird and that's hard for you to read. Now, let's go back to our trend line options again. Click on our trend line, and so the other curve that you might need, that you're going to need to look at, is a power curve. And so let's go ahead. All you got to do to change the curve is click on the curve, go to trend line options, and go to power curve. And notice that again, it has changed our curve for us, but our R square is actually above our original linear one in this case. Our equation has again changed. Our A here is 330 and a bunch of decimals, and our beta is 868983. Your equation for your power is y equals ax and to the power of beta. So what you would do is you would just plug in whatever value of y you wanted here. Okay, and solve for the equation. You have the beta given right here, and you have the A given right here, that 330. Okay. All right, so I hope that this video has been helpful. Again, regression, really, it's pretty easy to get the numbers, and the trick in regression is, can you interpret the numbers correctly? So hopefully this video has been helpful to you in interpreting the numbers. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I am here to help you. Have a great day.